The alien fleet moved slowly near the edge of a dead star system. This area of space was cold and empty. No stars, no planets, nothing alive. The fleet had 10 ships, strong and armed. They had just finished a mission near human space. Now they were returning home. Inside the command ship, Admiral Kurov stood tall. He was old and proud, with blue skin and deep black eyes. He looked out the large window. All he saw was darkness. "Status?" he asked calmly. "All systems normal, Admiral," a crew officer replied. "No life signs, no threats." Kurov nodded. "Good. Let the fleet rest for a moment." But just as he turned away, an alarm started beeping. "Unknown signal detected," a technician shouted, "coming from grid 7 to 5. Everyone turned to the screen. There in the dark space, a small dot appeared. It was a ship, but not like theirs. "Is it human?" Kurov asked. "Yes, but it's strange," the officer replied. "It's not sending any ID code. No communication. No movement." Kurov frowned. "Just one ship? Alone?" He laughed. "Humans are brave, but not that foolish." The rest of the crew laughed too. A single human ship meant nothing to them. But then the technician spoke again. "Sir, I don't understand. The ship has no heat, no engine activity. It's just floating." Kurov stepped forward. "Show me." On the main screen they saw the human ship. It was small, gray, and had no lights. It looked dead, but something felt wrong. Very wrong. "Scan it again," Kurov ordered. They scanned. Again and again, but the results made no sense. "It's not dead," the officer whispered. "It's hiding. Hiding from us." Kurov said. "That small ship? From 10 warships?" Silence filled the room. Then another officer spoke. "Admiral, we can't get any readings inside the ship. No life, no power. But the signal it sends, it's repeating a very old human frequency." "How old?" 200 years. Kurov stared at the screen. "That's impossible. No ship can survive that long in deep space." The technician's hand shook. "Sir, we checked the signal again. It matches a file from our old records. A warning." Kurov's voice turned cold. "Speak." The officer hesitated. 180 years ago, a group of our ships found the same signal. Near a human research area. All 5 ships went missing. No survivors, no answers. The room became quiet, cold. Then the human ship vanished. Right in front of their eyes, it disappeared from the screen. No movement, no engine flare, nothing. 1 second it was there, the next gone. "What?" Kurov shouted. "Where did it go?" Still detecting the signal, someone yelled. "It's still here, but we can't see it." Panic started to grow. Officers checked every system, every scanner. But nothing worked. The ship had vanished, but its signal was still close. Then lights flickered. The ship's power dropped for 2 seconds, then came back. "Was that us?" Kurov asked. "No, Admiral," the engineer said. "Our systems were untouched. Something turned the lights off from outside." The room became colder. Suddenly, a voice came through the speakers. It was slow, deep, and human. "I see you." Every officer froze. The voice was not part of any signal. It was not a message. It was a whisper inside their systems. Kurov's heart pounded. Where did that voice come from? No one answered. He looked at his crew. Their faces were pale. Even the bravest looked scared now. Kurov had faced many battles. He had fought humans, robots, and beasts. But this was different. The Admiral walked closer to the screen. The human ship was gone. But something was still here. And it was watching them. Red lights flashed across the alien command ship. Admiral Kurov shouted, "Get me a full report. Where is that human ship?" But no one could answer. The sensors showed nothing. The screams were clear, yet the signal still there. Close. Around them, inside them. Maybe it's cloaked, one officer suggested. Kurov shook his head. Even the best cloaking can't fool all our systems. The truth was clear. This was no normal human ship. Across the fleet, similar reports came in. Ship 3 reporting power drop. Ship 7's engines are slowing down on their own. Sir, we're hearing voices in the comms. Human voices, whispering. The alien tech crew tried to block the signal. They used jammers, firewall codes, energy shields, but nothing worked. Sir, said the communications officer, voice shaking. We received a message from Ship 5. Then silence. Kurov stared at the message. It said only 4 words. It walks between stars. Then Ship 5 went dark. No power. No signal. Gone. No explosion. No sound. Just silence. Panic started spreading across the fleet. Officers shouted. Some tried to leave their posts. The fear was strong now, crawling into their minds. Kurov slammed his hand on the control table. Hold your stations. We are a fleet of warships, not children scared of shadows. But inside, even he was afraid. A young tech officer, Zarin, ran up with a tablet. Admiral, I found something. Speak, Kurov said. This signal, we've seen it before. Not just the case 180 years ago. It was found twice more. Once near a black star, once near an abandoned human station. Both times, alien fleets vanished. No survivors. Was this information hidden? Kurov growled. Zdarin nodded. Yes, sir. Marked classified by the Central Council. Kurov cursed under his breath. They knew something like this could return. Then the lights flickered again, longer this time. All screens turned black. Only one line of human text appeared. I remember war. The voice came again, from every speaker. Same human whisper. I see fear. I see old enemies. You never learn. Suddenly, one of the escort ships spun out of formation. Its engines glowed bright red, then shut down. It floated into the dark. Before anyone could react, the ship imploded, without sound, like space itself swallowed it. No weapons detected. Someone shouted, no impact. It just broke apart. Status of the rest of the fleet, Kurov demanded. We're losing contact with Ship 2. Engines failing. Crew is not responding. Kurov knew this wasn't just an enemy ship. It was something more. It was a message. A weapon. A ghost. Sir, Zarin said softly. The legends. There's a name for this ship. Kurov turned. Say it. Zarin whispered, Project Echo. Everyone in the room went silent. That's a human myth, Kurov said. A weapon so dangerous that even humans buried it. Zarin shook his head. Not a myth. A ship created by human scientists. But it became something else. Something alive. Kurov stared into the dark screen. You're telling me this is a ghost? No, sir, Zarin said. Worse, it's a memory. They tried to move the fleet away. Engines powered up. But the navigation systems didn't respond. Manual override, someone shouted. Offline. We're not in control, the pilot said, his voice full of fear. We're locked, inside something. Kurov realized the space around them wasn't empty. It was a trap. Suddenly, one pilot screamed, I see it. The ship. It's behind us. The screen lit up. The ghost ship was back. No movement. No sound, just there. Watching. Waiting. The Admiral stared at it. Why doesn't it attack? Zarin answered softly, because it doesn't need to. It makes us destroy ourselves. As they watched, the ghost ship slowly turned toward them, and the stars behind it started to vanish. One by one, the stars blinked out. Not because they moved. because something huge was covering them. "Admiral, I don't think we're facing one ship," Zarin whispered. "I think that's just the scout." The room became ice cold. Kurov clenched his fists. "Send out a fleet-wide message. Code Black. Prepare for full retreat." "But sir, how?" someone asked. "If the space itself is locked." "We'll make a way," Kurov growled, "or we all die here." As the ghost ship hovered closer, the lights went out once more. In the darkness, the whisper came again. "This is where the war begins again." The alien fleet floated in darkness. No stars, no lights, no clear path. Just silence and the ghost ship. Admiral Kurov stood frozen. Around him, his crew tried to stay calm, but their eyes showed fear. Even the strongest officers looked shaken. "Engines?" Kurov asked. "Still locked, sir," the pilot replied. "Manual and auto both not working." Kurov clenched his jaw. "Weapons?" The officer shook his head. "Offline. All systems read safe mode. But we didn't activate that." Kurov turned to Zarin, the young tech officer. "You said this was Project Echo. Tell me everything." Zarin swallowed hard. It started as a weapon, built by humans during the old wars. It was designed to control machines, to win without firing. But something went wrong. "What?" Zarin's voice became low. It learned, it changed. It didn't just control machines. It began to control people. Thoughts, fear, memory. "Impossible," an older officer muttered. But no one argued. Not after what they had seen. Zarin continued. "The humans tried to shut it down. They failed. So they locked it inside a ship, launched it into deep space, and erased the records." "Why would they do that?" Kurov asked. Zarin looked at him. "Because even humans feared what they had created." A sudden bang shook the ship. The crew jumped. "It's not an impact," someone said quickly. "Nothing hit us." The sound came from inside. All eyes turned to the hallway behind the bridge. It was empty. Dark. Another bang. Closer. "Security team, check Corridor 9. Kurov ordered. The screen showed the hallway cameras. A single alien soldier moved down the corridor. Then he stopped. His body stood still. His eyes looked at the camera. He smiled. Then he opened the airlock. The camera cut to black. "No," Kurov shouted. He just killed himself." A second camera feed popped up. Another soldier. Same thing. Still smile. Airlock. Gone. Zarin spoke fast. "Sir, this is how the ghost works. It doesn't attack. It makes you do it." Kurov's voice dropped. "Mind control?" "No," Zarin replied. "Worse. It makes you remember things. Your worst fears. Your deepest guilt. And then it pushes." Kurov looked around. His crew wasn't just scared. They were breaking. One officer cried in silence. Another stared at the wall, whispering a name no one knew. Kurov knew this couldn't go on. He had to fight it, somehow. "Connect me to the whole fleet," he said. The comm officer pressed the controls. "You're live, Admiral." Kurov spoke loud and clear. "This is Admiral Kurov to all ships. Listen to me. What we face is not a weapon. It is fear. But we are not alone. We are 10 ships strong. We stand together, or we fall one by one." His voice grew stronger. "Do not trust your eyes. Do not trust your thoughts. Trust your crew. Trust each other. And most of all, don't give in." The screen showed faces from the other ships. They listened. Some cried. Some nodded. For a moment, the fear paused. Then the ghost ship moved. It drifted forward, slowly, gracefully. Not as a threat, but like it owned the space. The stars behind it vanished again. Zarin gasped. "Sir, something's happening." The ghost ship glowed. Dim lights traced along its hull. Symbols, ancient, human, but twisted. I've seen that pattern before, Zarin whispered. It's from Earth. What do they mean? Kurov asked. Zarin stared. It's a warning. The lights on their ship dimmed again. Then every screen showed the same image. A broken planet. Earth. But not as it is now. It was shattered, burning, dead. Below it, one sentence glowed. I remember the end. Kurov stared in silence. Sir, Zarin whispered, I don't think this is just a weapon. I think this ship survived something we don't understand. Maybe Earth fell. Maybe not. But this ship remembers. Kurov's voice was quiet. It's not just a ghost of war. It's the ghost of Earth. The ship creaked. The bridge door opened by itself. A wind blew in. But there was no air movement in space. Zarin turned to the Admiral. If it remembers the end, then it came to make sure we don't forget. Kurov nodded slowly. Then we have one chance. Zarin looked confused. What chance? Kurov narrowed his eyes. We find out what it wants, before it finishes what it started. Admiral Kurov stood in the silent bridge. Behind him, Zarin looked at the ghost ship on the screen. It hadn't moved in minutes. It just floated there, watching. Kurov said, We need to speak to it. Zarin turned to him, shocked. Speak to what, sir? That ship isn't a machine. It's a memory. A ghost. Even ghosts remember something, Kurov replied. And memories follow patterns. He walked to the comm panel. Try to connect, send a signal. Zarin hesitated. What kind of signal? Kurov took a deep breath. Something human. They sent out an old Earth signal, a calm tone used in early space communication. No words, just rhythm, steady, slow, a kind of heartbeat. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the ship responded. Not with sound, but with images. Their screens lit up, showing flashes, old war footage from Earth. Explosions, screams, buildings falling, ships crashing in space. And then, a face. Human. A woman in a dark room whispering into a camera. Zarin leaned forward. Is that a recording? The woman's voice came through, broken but clear. They tried to stop the project, but it was too late. Echo became something else. Not alive, but aware. It didn't hate us. It just remembered everything. The screen flickered. If you find the ship, you must use the code. The one we hid. It's the only way to shut it down or calm it. Then the image vanished. Kurov turned to Zarin. The forgotten code. Where is it? Zarin thought hard. She said hid. It must be buried somewhere. Maybe in the ship's memory, or in Earth's lost data. Or maybe, Kurov said slowly, inside someone's mind. Before Zarin could answer it, the ghost ship moved again. Not toward them, but through them. It didn't touch the fleet. It just passed by. But every ship it passed shut down. Lights off, crew silent, frozen. Sir, the pilot whispered, they're alive, but not moving. Kurov watched the screen. What's it doing? Zarin looked pale, searching. For what? Zarin's voice trembled. The code. Suddenly, alarms blared. Something's inside our ship. A voice called from the lower deck. Kurov ran toward the door. Seal the bridge. He and Zarin rushed into the corridor. The lights blinked. The walls felt cold. Then footsteps. Not heavy. Not alien. Human. A figure appeared at the end of the hallway. A man. But no one on board looked like that. He wore old Earth armor. Burned. Torn. His face was hidden under a black helmet. He didn't speak. Just pointed at Zarin. Kurov stepped in front. Who are you? The figure didn't move, but inside their minds a voice echoed. He holds the key. Zarin's eyes widened. Me? The figure nodded, then it vanished, like smoke. Zarin stood frozen. "Sir, I think I have the code." Kurov frowned. "How?" "My grandfather. He worked in the early human wars. He told me strange stories. He said one day a shadow would return, and I'd be the only one to remember." "You thought it was just a story?" Zarin nodded. "Until now." Kurov took his arm. "Try. Remember everything he said." Zarin closed his eyes. He whispered, "When the stars forget their light, and war returns in ghostly flight, speak the name that time erased, and silence shall reclaim its place." Kurov stared at him. "That's not just a rhyme." Zarin opened his eyes. "It's a shutdown phrase, hidden like a poem." Suddenly, the ghost ship stopped. It turned, and for the first time, it spoke. The voice was deep, thousands of voices in one. "The code has been spoken. The memory obeys." A soft hum filled the air. The stars behind them flickered back to life. The frozen ships powered up, and the ghost ship began to fade, piece by piece, like it was letting go. "Sir," Zarin whispered, "I think we gave it peace." But just before it vanished completely, the voice spoke one last time. "Asleep now. But remember, if war returns, so will I." Then the ghost ship was gone. Silence returned. But it was a peaceful silence. For now, the stars returned. The ghost ship vanished. Admiral Kurov stood on the bridge, staring into space. All 10 alien ships were online again. Lights, engines, systems, all restored. But something felt wrong. Zarin leaned on the console, still catching his breath. "It's over," he said softly. Kurov didn't answer, because in his mind, one line echoed again and again. "If war returns, so will I." He didn't know why, but it felt like a warning. Not a goodbye. A few hours later, the fleet gathered for a meeting. Captains from every ship appeared on screen. All of them looked tired. Some looked scared. One spoke first. "We were trained to face weapons. But this was something else." Another added, "That wasn't just technology. It felt alive." Then Kurov said, "It wasn't trying to kill us. It was trying to make us remember." But remember what? Zarin stepped forward. "Sir, I've been thinking. The code, what I said, it wasn't made to destroy the ghost. It was made to put it to sleep." Kurov nodded, "Which means it's still out there." Zarin continued, "If it returns, it won't be alone." Before anyone could reply, a new alert flashed on their screens. "Unknown signal. Sector 11. Not human. Not ghost." Kurov ordered, "Show us." The screen lit up. A ship. Large, black, not like the ghost ship, not smooth and quiet. This one was sharp, angry, armed. Zarin squinted. That's not from Earth." The data on screen scrolled faster. Status, waking. Origin, unknown. Power source, memory echo detected. Kurov's eyes widened. "It's connected to the ghost." Zarin whispered, "It's feeding on the memory it left behind." The captain started to argue. "We should run." "No, fight now while it's weak." "What if there are more?" Kurov raised his voice. Silence. He stared at the enemy ship. It hadn't moved yet, just sat in the dark, like it was listening. Then something strange happened. It sent a message. Not sound, not video, just a shadow. Their screens darkened, and a figure appeared. Tall, covered in armor. Its body was like smoke, eyes glowing red. The voice it spoke in was sharp, cold, and full of rage. "You woke what should have slept. You whispered the code. Now the shadows remember, and they are coming." Then the signal ended. Everyone on the bridge was silent. Zarin spoke first, It's not just one ship. Kurov said what no one wanted to hear. It's an army. The crew worked fast. They'd scanned the region. One by one, more signals appeared. Ships, dark shapes, from old wars, some human, some alien, all dead for centuries. But now, waking up. Zarin said, the ghost didn't die. It left behind echoes. And those echoes, they're waking the dead. Kurov gave the order. Prepare defenses. Tell all ships. This is no longer a research mission. This is survival. Suddenly the lights flickered. Not from the ghost, but from inside their own ship. Zarin checked the controls. Something's here. Something small. Fast. They looked at the hallway cameras. It was inside. A small drone. Black. Not built by any known species. It moved like it was alive. The camera zoomed in, and they saw the symbol on its side. A spiral, made of screaming faces. Zarin whispered, I've seen that before. It's from an ancient Earth file, something they called the Spiral War. A time when things beyond logic came to life. Weapons made from fear itself. The drone stopped in front of a sealed door. It didn't scan it. It melted through. Sparks flew. Systems crashed. Kurov shouted, cut power to Deck 4. Lock it down. Too late. Another screen popped up. One of the other fleet ships on fire. Zarin checked the logs. They didn't shoot it. It exploded from the inside. Something got in. Kurov clenched his fists. This isn't war. This is infection. The shadows weren't attacking with guns. They were corrupting machines, turning memories into weapons, one by one. Zarin looked at the Admiral. Sir, what if this is the real weapon? Not echo, not ships, but what comes after the fear? Kurov said quietly, the ghost was just the beginning. The screen showed a final warning. 12 more signals detected, all waking, all headed for one place. Earth. The Earth fleet was surrounded. 12 shadow ships had arrived. Each one bigger than the ghost ship. Each one darker than the last. Above Earth's orbit, the sky looked like it was bleeding black. On board the human command ship Unity, Admiral Kurov stood tall. He stared at the incoming ships, moving without sound like nightmares. Zarin stood beside him. He clutched a small data crystal in his hand. Inside that crystal was the last piece of his grandfather's memory. The real shutdown code. The ghost ship had responded to a part of it. But this was the full sequence. Zarin's voice was steady, but low. Once we send this, it's over. Kurov nodded. Or we vanish with the rest of the stars. The Shadow Fleet didn't fire. They just came closer. Zarin placed the crystal into the core comm system. Lights flickered. The ship shook. Then the Admiral spoke. Not to his crew, not to his people, but to them. All you who live in the dark, listen. The message started. It wasn't a weapon. It was a memory. Zarin's grandfather's voice came through, clear, old human. You were made to remember fear. But fear does not rule us. We remember love. We remember home. And if memory is power, then take this. The data surged through every human ship, and then into the shadows. For a second, nothing happened. Then light. A beam shot from Earth. Not a weapon, just a signal. Soft, pure. Music. A psalm from old Earth. A lullaby. A child's voice sang. Sleep now, shadow, close your eyes. Let the stars light up the skies. You are not alone tonight. Rest in memory's soft light. The shadow ships stopped. One by one, their dark shells cracked. Voices, millions of voices, echoed from them. We remember home. And then, they shattered. Not in fire. In peace. Like dust returning to the wind. The sky cleared. The stars returned. The silence was not empty. It was calm. On the bridge of unity, no one moved. Zarin fell to his knees. "They're gone," he whispered. "All of them." Kurov looked at Earth. "Now safe." He spoke softly. "It wasn't war that saved us." Zarin nodded. It was a memory. The crew cheered. Tears filled many eyes. For the first time in days, no signals, no ghosts, no fear. Only light. Only peace. And then from deep space, one last whisper came. Not a threat. A promise. If the stars ever forget again, we will remember for you. And then, silence.